right, hey there. We are breaking down the Denver set run by the University of Pennsylvania against Penn State in 2020. We've broken down this set before, and we've talked about how other teams use it, but I think Penn runs this really well. It does a great job kind of getting the different looks that we really love to get as well. So as we start this set, let's first diagnose and diagram who is in what areas of the field. I like to think of this as a 4+2 set. Okay, we have our 1, 2, 3, and our 4. Okay, and this is an important person to know, and to refer to him as the 4. Okay, so the person who's on the crease, we're going to refer to this guy right here as the 4 in our Denver set. All right, and so for us to be able to then switch in and out of who the 4 is, we might want that to be a short stick, or we might want it to be a specific matchup. We might want to put their least able sliding defenseman. There's a number of things we might want to do as a team, but most importantly to understand that that he's called the 4. Down low here, this is our base pair. Okay, and the base pair in Denver really can get relatively creative, kind of depending on what we're doing. You'll see some teams that will run a really high curling base, so that anytime the ball goes behind, that there's a cutter coming from this base, and really they're acting separately. These two act as a group, and then these 4 act as a group. So what this offense is mostly made to do is to get high wing dodges, okay, from either one of the spots. I'm not sure where they dodge from on this first one, but just to diagram out the general kind of rules and motions that they're looking to get here. We'll start with our top 4 guys. If the dodge comes from this point, obviously he's going to have an angle option, or he's going to have a jet option. No matter what he chooses, just like Atlanta and just like some of the other stuff, our crease guy is going to mirror him and go the opposite way. So most of the time they don't use a jack pick here. They don't really use this as a 2-man game. You obviously can come out and set a pick here if you'd like to, but for the most part what they do is if there's an under dodge, he will just rotate or pop behind the ball, and be the adjacent outlet there. No matter which way he goes, the backside midfielder, but the backside man on the 4 rotation will cut to the crease, and then if we draw an imaginary line up the right-o here, the point man is going to just drift to the opposite side of the field of where the ball started. Okay, so those 4 guys have those 4 jobs. Just really quickly again: dodge, pop, cut, and drift. Okay, and so you'll see why and how they do that. Then down low, there's again, like I mentioned, there's a number of options we can do here. We can kind of pinch the pipe and hug it tight and bring someone to X there. You could do a full-on heavy pick to here and maybe do a front swing. There's a lot of different options for that pair, and it kind of depends on the situation. So as we watch this play through, here comes our dodger. Is going to be coming from the goalie's top left. You'll see our pop man, you'll see our drift man, and you'll see our cut guy all working together, and the timing is obviously important. So on this play, our dodger decides to take the jet, which means that our pop is going to have to come under. That does not change our cutter. That does not change our drift whatsoever. He gets over the top. And now once the ball carrier is here in between the hashes, whether he's the first dodger or he's a second dodger, now he has what we call a 2-way go. So he can continue his dodge to the middle, or he can rotate back and take the alley there. So in this situation, I believe what you'll see him do, he'll just get over the top, and now he's really in a great shooting spot. Penn State had their crease guy was hot. He was covering this man who's just popped out, and Penn State has brought their 2 on a low 2 up from the base to cover the 2. This man's not in a great position to play this here on the backside, and this is why this offense tends to work really well. As 11 gets to the top side and beats his man, they had hedged this slide and they didn't. He didn't perform the slide, which maybe he should have. So when he hedges the slide, 11 gets himself free for a relatively easy shot and goal. So obviously, this is going to be your first look on the set, is to try to score off the dodge. So watching this the whole thing through again. Again, 11 is going to be our dodger. He works his way in. We've got our shape, 1, 2, 3, 4. Got our hitch to the middle, and then we get downhill and get a good shot and a goal. Last thing to note here on this set is maybe just kind of paying attention to what we're going to do on the backside. They don't actually have to get too involved here. So what Penn is going to do is they're actually going to kind of V-cut him away from the ball. I'd call that a fade, right? He's adjacent to the ball, and instead of cutting through, he just fades to the next adjacent spot. And then because it's a sweep, the easiest pass for him to make would be this forward pass if he was going to make that look. So you'll notice that backside attackman creeping in a little bit. That would have been a good look, and maybe you pass down into a cyclone there. But instead, 11 just decides to take it himself. Second clip here, and I think it's worth noting that Penn runs this offense consistently, and they stay in it. There's not a lot of I want to say there's not a lot of creativity, but it's very much understood what they're trying to do here, and they have the creativity out of the set, but in general they run the set all the time. So pre-dodge here, we had our pre-motion kind of a copper look back there. Really all they were trying to do is transfer it, and now they've got their base attackmen 1 and 2. They've got 1, 2, 3, and then our 4 right there. And so now our dodge is going to be coming from the opposite side on the righty side. He chooses, well, he tried to go under. He got stuffed, so he comes back over. 20, going to get under on the shadow. We're going to get this drift to this space, and now 16 is hard cutting to the crease. Again, Penn's look is if you get over the top, we're going to fade the adjacent and cut the backside base. Really, he's just creeping. He's not even cutting. So they don't get the look right away, and they pass across, and now they're back in this quad up top. The spaces have changed. So now we have a new dodger, right? Same option, above or below. Same read here, backside cut, and it drifts back to the same spot. So let's see if they're able to hit all those rotations. Here's this. So he takes the underneath, he throws it to X. This is their base attackman. They're scrambling a little bit here. They do a good job of just playing lacrosse out of the look. So let's keep. So again, most of these sets that we try to run and that most teams are going to run, they're going to give you 10 seconds of structure. Okay, so here's our 10 seconds of structure. We transfer the ball to the guy that we want to be the initiator of the Denver. He's going to get going. We'll watch this backside attackman here this time, because as that jet comes, he now gets himself through. He's ready to get himself through. He's in the way if and when that dodge goes under. So he's just going to go ahead and take the front swing. And I believe we'll replace on the backside. That would be the logical kind of move to make. So he's available to receive that. This is our base attackman. Okay, and we work it through X, look for a quick shot. That's the look that you can get when you really cut the base high and then back to the first pass. And so that's something that the University of Denver really likes to do, is when they cut their base through. I'll show it one more time. So when they cut their base through, we're gonna have to just roll it through, so be patient. But when they jet over the top and they cut this guy through, what Denver will like to do a lot is to bring this guy high and then have him come screaming right back down to the first pass to X. And so, yes, he ends up in the middle here, but really he ends up being, he's going to cut to that first pass. And if it's not there, they may take a dodge to the backside, or they just may move it to the backside. And that's something that you can do out of the base, depending on what your system is for running that. So again, here's our sweep, here's our drift, here's our cut, here's our attackman. He gets that curl cut. That's to the first pass. And I think he may have liked that better if he'd gotten higher so that he could get into a shooting spot with his hands there. But Penn's still able to score. Now they're in their JPL, right? So JPL or the ground ball offense or their scramble offense. They had that 10 seconds of structure. They have a system of kind of popping behind the Dodger. They drew a slide off of that guy, and Penn State's not able to rotate into it. Good job there. Next, we'll move on to the third clip here, another goal. So you'll notice that this is 6 goals out of this set that Penn gets in this one game as they finish up their substitution. So they're not even done with their substitution here, but they're not afraid to dodge. They've got their pair working back here. And let's see how they decide to make this work. I'm sorry, they are done with their substitution. That was a guy on the other side of the midline. So let's set up our offense. Dodger, 2, 3, 4, and then the base behind. By now we should know what their looks are. Here's our dodge. Here's our pop behind the Dodger. He went under, right? He took the angle. We had our backside cutter. Very tough look right here. Glad he didn't make it. And I don't want us to make that pass very often. And then here's our drift. This man came from the point, essentially, just to the other hash mark to give him a chance. On this play here, again, it looks like Penn's rule is the ball side base attackman is always going to fade, and the backside guy is always going to kind of creep to the pipe and get ready for something easy. The dodge goes through. They decide to roll back. Good job by Penn putting pressure on that ball carrier here. And now this transitions them just naturally into an invert. So they're going to get a switch. They've now had to switch their matchup, and now Penn is going to bring their other shorty into this, and now we have a Laker. So Penn has now transitioned. They've gotten into a secondary set. They went from their initial Denver set, and now they're in a big little situation or a Laker. Okay, they're actually going to run a single invert here, and so like most teams, Penn is going to take their shorty. He's going to decide one way or the other to go. The crease is going to roll off opposite, which is a pretty good theme. Hopefully you're seeing now in lacrosse. And then each team is going to have different rules for how they handle these 4 up top, right? We did one where it was a simple cross pick action and kind of stepping into passing lanes up top. Some teams will just heavy cut from up top. You know, there's a whole bunch of things you can do out of this invert set. So what Penn decides to do as he dodges, here's your roll off. Their crease man just flashes to the ball. And they get themselves an easy look. So again, I think where Penn does a good job is that this man just stepped over the midline, and he's right away going to become a Dodger in the set of Denver. So even though, like, if we were diagramming this out, we might say this is where Denver starts. He's able to get a 20-yard running head start into that because we got into it right out of the substitution. So dodge, pop, cut, drift. Would have liked that one more to this Dodger here. They don't get it. So they're going to float right into their invert set. Quick switch by Penn State means that's not the invert they were looking for. So now this becomes their invert matchup that they're looking for. They work him down behind the goal. They get set up into their invert offense. Here's a quick dodge. And then your crease guy here, 40, is going to flash to the ball for a really easy finish. Next clip. Banging through here. So this is off of a restart. And even though it's a little bit jumbled up, Penn's going to do a good job getting their self set up, and you can see the shape here. Okay, quad with our 4. Here's our base pair. They aren't exactly starting on the pipes every time because every play is a little bit different. As he dodges, here's our pop behind. Here's our backside cut. Here's our point drift. On this one, they're able to get a shot on the very first look because there was no slide. So the reason this one works is, again, coming out of that, there's either a restart or a ground ball that happened just before this, and they're able to bang this to the opposite side of the field really quickly. And number 8 is going to catch this ball, get right into his dodge. Got his hands free and took the shot. Maybe that's one Penn State wants back, but you can still see Penn running their offense here. All right, we're starting off the end line here. Penn is actually in their invert here, or I'm sorry, their big little. But as they move the ball, they are now in their Denver set. You can see this attackman communicating to this midfielder. He might be an attackman or a midi, but he's being covered by a shorty. That he's going to now become part of the base, which should mean if Penn is running this the way I think, if this is going to be a dodger, this is going to be our pop behind, this is going to be our drift, and this is going to be our backside cut. So let's see if that's what in fact they do. Here's their dodge. They actually left 40 on the wing here. 40 is one of their best players as an attackman. And now he gets a secondary dodge. Now we're just playing lacrosse out of this. Again, maybe the goalie wants this back, but the point is the spacing is such that there's a lot of options for each ball carrier to have. Here's your dodge, backside hard cut from that midfielder, which let's think about this. If this midfielder was technically part of the quad, or he was supposed to be part of the quad, and if this attackman here was technically part of the base, which he was supposed to be, if that was true, then his job would be to cut the crease, and his job would be to hold the pipe, and his job would be to be in front of the ball, right? That would mean he's our drift and he's our pop. So they still have the same responsibilities, even though they're not in the same spaces. So it's interesting to see here how Penn, instead of 40 becoming part of the quad, they just leave his responsibility the same. He goes cutting to the crease. Now they're still in that 1, 2, 3, 4 plus 1 here, right? And that's one of their best players, 40. So they're going to look for him to attack when he catches the one more right here. So remembering that he was part of the base, right? Here's your 4. No one's really on him. He kind of soft plays him here. Decides to shoot from 13, 14 yards. Maybe a save he should have had. But again, just tons of options. And then finally, last clip. You see this attackman giving the razor call saying, hey, let's get into our offense. Let's set up. Let's not attack right now. We don't have numbers. There's only 3 of us. There's 5 of them. So Penn quickly, again, this man made this catch here. He supported that attackman, but his spot is over here. Where he's supposed to be is over here. So as these guys come in, you're going to have the 4, 1 who's going to be on this wing. You're going to have this guy who's on this wing, and then you're going to have this guy as the point. So again, Penn is not going to. Now what you're getting a dodge from up top. Okay, so you're getting a point dodge. You can see the 4 spots the guys are in, right? Point, wing, and the 4. So when we dodge the point, remember it's a two-way go. It's a pretty simple rotation. If he dodges at you, it's Space Invaders. We're just going to fill all four of the spots in a simple rotation. They direct traffic. They get where they want to get. Point dodge. Even on the point dodge, the crease is the pop. Ball side cut through. Backside is that drift now. Still the same overall principles. A good job moving the ball from one side of the field to the other. So we'll let this one play through. This one's only slightly different than the others because the two dodges are the two primary dodges are started from the point. But really, it's still the same concepts. You notice he had started a cut through, but notice that now since he was going this way, he has to be support over here. And the pop came off the crease. The pop always comes from behind pop always goes behind the dodger. And now he gets a nice flash up the field, steps up the hash, plants his feet for a stop shot, and lets it rip. Catch 2, 3. Last look at this, and then we'll be done. So as you can see, while there's certainly a system to what Penn is doing, and while they're definitely in a structured offense, there's just so much freedom for how they run this offense and what they're able to produce out of it and how they read each other and react. And this is what we want when we talk about team offense, being able to share the ball, being able to get a dodge, really crossing hemispheres of the field multiple times and getting a good shot opportunity on the backside. That's it for today's lesson on the Denver set as run by University of Penn. Hope you enjoyed it. Go Perp.